All right, you're in Ireland, 845 AD. You're hiding in your own home, pressed against the back wall of a burning longhouse, and you already know the rule. When the shield wall breaks, the dying starts. But not for you. Not yet. You're Ain now, a blacksmith's wife, 23, married for 4 years to a man who swore to protect you. 10 minutes ago, you watched him die, an axe through his chest. He fell 3 feet from where you're standing now. His blood is still warm on the floor. Outside, you hear them, Norse voices, laughter. The screaming has stopped, which means the fighting is over, which means the men are dead, which means they're coming for what's left. Here's something the sagas never mention. Death wasn't the worst thing Vikings did to a defeated village. Death was quick. Death was mercy. What came next was worse. The door breaks open. 3 men. Torchlight catches the blood on their axes. One of them sees you. He smiles. "This one's alive," he says in broken Irish. "Still warm." This is 845 AD. And for the wives of defeated warriors, the horror is just beginning. They drag you out by your hair. Not your arm, your hair. It's faster. It hurts more. They've done this before. Let me explain this part so you don't get lost. Viking law had rules for everything. Even this. Especially this. When a warrior killed a man in battle, he inherited that man's property. His weapons, his livestock, his wife. The Old Norse term is mundkona, owned woman, property that breathes. The Grágás law codes from Iceland spell out the process. The captor declares ownership before witnesses. 3 witnesses minimum. The woman's resistance is irrelevant under law. If she killed herself to escape, the captor could claim compensation from her family. Suicide was theft of property. The going rate, 40 silver marks. More than most men earned in a year. You're thrown onto the ground in the village square. Other women are already there. Some you recognize. Neighbors, friends, the baker's wife, the priest's daughter. None of them are looking at you. They're looking at the ground. You learn fast that eye contact is dangerous. A large man walks down the line. He's older than the others. More scars. More authority. He stops at each woman, lifts her chin, checks her teeth like a horse at market. When he reaches you, he pauses. "Whose woman?" he asks. A younger Viking answers, points at the body still lying in your doorway. "Your husband." "Blacksmith," someone says. "Good hands. Strong back. She might work iron too." The older man nods. "Write something on a leather strip." Here's something they don't teach in school. These weren't random notes. Archaeological digs at Dublin's Wood Quay found these strips. Actual receipts. Carved prices. 20 silver pieces for a young woman. 15 for a mother. 10 if she was injured in the taking. You're worth 20. Maybe 25 because you can work a forge. The strip goes to the young Viking who killed your husband. She's yours. You killed the man. You keep the wife. Marriage is legal. The children born from it will be legitimate. The rape is sanctioned by law. Wait, this is where it gets worse. Before they put you on the ship, they show you the pits. Every woman sees the pits. It's part of the process. Archaeological digs outside Dublin revealed them. Stone-lined holes in the ground. 6 feet deep, 3 feet wide. Too narrow to lie down. Too shallow to stand straight. The skeletons inside told the story. Broken legs. To prevent escape. Broken arms. To prevent self-harm. These women were kept alive while they died. Some took weeks. Soil analysis shows extended decomposition periods. The dying was slow. By design. Let me explain what the pits were for. Punishment. For women who fought back. For women who tried to run. For women who injured their captors. The victim died of thirst. Or exposure. Or infection from broken bones that were never set. Sometimes all 3. Other captives watched. They learned. A guard walks you past the pits on your way to the ships. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't have to. The smell says enough. You see a hand reaching out from one pit. Still moving. Fingers clawing at stone. You don't look again. Here's your first rule of survival. Rule number 1. Don't fight back. The pits are always waiting. They put you on a ship that night. Chains and wooden decks and the smell of blood and salt water. His name is Bjorn, 22 years old. He's killed 6 men today. You're his first wife. The ship takes 3 days to reach the Norse settlement. 3 days chained to a deck beam. 3 nights with Bjorn. The other women taught you something. Whispered it while the men slept. Go somewhere else in your mind. Your body is here. You don't have to be. Pick a memory. A good one. Your mother's voice. Sunlight on water. Hold on to it. Go there. Stay there. Your body will do what it has to do to survive. Your mind doesn't have to watch. You learn to leave. Quick thing. If you're deep in this, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Now back to 845 AD. Back to the settlement. Back to the life that's waiting for you. Dublin wasn't just a trading post. It was a processing center for human cargo. Ships arrived weekly with fresh captives. The women were sorted by age and condition. Warehouses held 200 people at a time. Drainage channels in the stone floors. Not for rainwater, for human waste. The young women went to Norse settlements as breeding stock. The older ones went to Islamic markets via the Russian river routes. Here's something ugly but real. 9th century Arabic sources describe Viking slave caravans reaching Baghdad. Fair-skinned women from Ireland and Britain brought premium prices in Eastern markets. The Vikings knew their market. They supplied it efficiently. You're not being sold east. You're being kept. Bjorn wants to keep you. That's supposed to be the better outcome. It isn't. They bring you to a settlement. 40 buildings. A great hall. A forge. Because your husband was a blacksmith. And they watched you work iron with him. You know how to shape metal. You have value. Women who couldn't work were sold. Women who could work were kept. You spend your days at the forge. Making nails. Repairing tools. Sometimes weapons. You spend your nights with Bjorn. Rule number 2. Never let them see you waiting for the worst. It makes the good nights harder to survive. And here's the part that breaks you. He's not cruel. Not always. Some nights he ignores you completely. Some nights he's almost gentle. Some nights are worse. But you never know which night is which. That's the point. You've heard whispers among the women. A name. Gunhild. A captive who escaped. Who came back with an army. Who hunted Vikings across Frankish lands. The men don't talk about her. But the women do. Late at night. Like a prayer. You don't know if she's real. But you hold on to the name anyway. After a year, you're pregnant. The child isn't yours. Not really. Viking law is clear. If the mother is a captive, the child belongs to the father. You're just the container. But you feel the child move. You feel it grow. And somewhere in the horror, something that feels like love starts to take root. That's when you realize the real cruelty. They haven't just taken your body. They've made you complicit in your own captivity. Because now you have something to lose. 3 years pass. You have 2 children now. A boy and a girl. They speak Norse. They call Bjorn father. You've heard rumors about buildings in the larger settlements. The ones with no windows. They call them breeding houses. And here's the part they never put in history books. Recent excavations at York uncovered one. A structure from 876 AD. 64 individual cells. Each cell held chains anchored to stone walls. This wasn't a prison. This was a breeding facility. Soil analysis reveals continuous occupation for 40 years. Hundreds of women passed through these cells, all showing signs of repeated pregnancy, all disposed of when no longer productive. Church records from the site list 732 births. Only 12 children survived past age 5. The church wasn't horrified. The church was a business partner. Contract payments for sanctuary services. God's work financed by systematic rape. You're lucky. You have skills. You work the forge. You're not in the breeding houses. But you know women who were taken there. You never saw them again. And here's the twist you're not going to like. The children who died in those facilities weren't neglected. They were eliminated. Viking law was clear about mixed-blood children. If the mother was a slave, the child was a slave. If the child couldn't work, the child died. Archaeological evidence from settlement middens shows infant bones. Dozens of them. Blunt force trauma to the skull. Quick, clean. The bones show practice. This wasn't emotional violence. This was procedure. Your children are alive because Bjorn claimed them, because they're legitimate. But you've seen the other children, the ones whose fathers didn't claim them. You don't let yourself think about it. Rule number 3, don't hope, just survive. Year 4, the raiding party returns. Bjorn is dead, killed in Ireland, by defenders just like your husband was killed. The wheel turns, the blood keeps flowing. Without Bjorn, you're property again. Unclaimed property. The other warriors are already looking at you, calculating. Your children watch with eyes that don't understand. One of Bjorn's brothers steps forward. He'll claim you, take you as his wife. Or you could take the other option, the cliffs. Viking settlements had high cliffs nearby. Everyone knew what they were for. The women who couldn't bear another claiming. The mothers who wouldn't watch their children become property. Some mornings, the cliffs claimed 1 or 2. No one talked about it. No one stopped it. It was the only choice captive women were allowed to make. You stand at the edge of the village. Your daughter holds your hand. And here's the detail that changes everything. You remember the whispers. The name, Gunhild. She was real. 923 AD. Frankish records describe her. A freed Norse captive who led raids against Viking settlements. She knew their tactics, their weaknesses, their fears. Gunhild's war lasted 7 years. Frankish sources credit her with destroying 12 Viking camps, freeing over 300 captives. Her final raid targeted the slave market at Rouen. 47 Viking traders killed. The method was always the same. Castration first, then bleeding out. Gunhild vanishes from records after 930. But excavations at former Viking sites along the Seine show burn layers from this period. Someone was hunting Vikings. Someone who knew exactly how to hurt them. You wonder if you could be Gunhild, if you could turn the horror into revenge. But you have children now, and revenge is a luxury mothers can't afford. You step back from the cliff. You let Bjorn's brother claim you. You survive. Here's what the bones tell us. Modern Icelandic populations carry 60% Celtic female lineage. Norwegian populations show 40% British Isles female ancestry. This wasn't cultural exchange. This wasn't voluntary migration. Thousands of captured women. Thousands of forced pregnancies. Thousands of children who never knew their mother's real names. The scale was enormous. The methodology was precise. And here's the final detail. Recent excavations at Repton uncovered a mass grave from 986 AD. 236 individuals. All female. All showing signs of systematic execution. But isotope analysis revealed they weren't captives. They were Norse women. When Viking power collapsed in England, these women were killed. By their own people. To prevent their capture. The execution methods matched those used on captives. Blunt force trauma, strangulation, poisoning. The Vikings applied their own techniques to their own families. They knew what awaited captured wives. They had invented it. One skull contained a runic inscription, 3 words carved into bone. Better this way. Someone took time during mass execution to justify it. Even in murder, they needed to be right. The skull belonged to a girl aged 12 to 14. Killed by her own people to save her from what they had done to others. What happened to Aine? We don't know. She's a composite, a reconstruction from bones and laws and silent archaeology. But she existed. Thousands of women like her existed. They survived raids and pits and breeding houses. They raised children in captivity. They stood at cliffs and chose to step back. Some became Gunhild. Most didn't. The sagas remember the warriors, the heroes, the men who sailed and killed and conquered. They don't remember the women who were conquered, the wives who became property, the mothers who raised Viking children while mourning Irish husbands. But bones don't lie, graves don't forget, and somewhere in your DNA, if your ancestors came from Northern Europe, there's a woman like Aine. She never got to tell her story, until now. If this stays with you, subscribe to the Obscure Chronicles. For the women the sagas forgot, for the names we'll never know, for the bones that finally speak. They were there, and now so are you. But Vikings weren't the only ones who turned conquered women into property. In Rome, gladiators received female slaves as prizes for killing. What happened in the tunnels beneath the Colosseum was worse than anything in the arena above.